London's street art scene first emerged in the mid-1980s. Emanating as a rebellious and socio-political art form, how has it become more established and mainstream today?
Street art, graffiti, but public art has become quite an established domain of practice, really, now, in a way that didn't exist prior to the 80s. So I suppose during the 1980s, there were very famously a number of New York graffiti artists who came to prominence. Kenny Scharf, Jean-Michel Basquiat, who collaborated with Andy Warhol and so forth. So through those collaborations, I guess the art world was interested at that time in their voice as the excluded, as the disenfranchised, and the fact that they were using an illegal, still is illegal to make graffiti, an illegal form to make their voice heard, gave the work a transgressive edge, a socio-political edge. Since then, it's become less transgressive to be a public artist or a graffiti artist and to be showing in galleries and so forth in the way that, say, someone like Banksy has started to do. Having said that, his work is still full of edge and comment, political bite and satire. So, that's the kind of brief history.
Banksy has provoked mass media and public attention through his controversial artwork. But how has one man given London's street art scene such vast amounts of recognition?
I think he's very smart. I think there's a lot of people like him and a lot of people with similar ideas, but no one's been able to express it that well or have the balls to go to a museum and hang up their own work, or just the angles that he chooses to work with are what makes it interesting and fresh and exciting to look at. And it gets a lot of people involved because I think he tapped into something that relates to a lot of people. It's not just someone's tag on the wall going trying to do an all-city piece or something. He's speaking directly to the people en masse, and it does influence people. It makes them realize that one person can have a voice and speak for a larger generation. I mean, he's not my favorite artist. His work is very similar to a lot of stencil artists, but it's the way that he does it and the places that he chooses to work in that make the difference. But what I find really interesting is that a lot of our customers are being taught about in is it secondary school? I'm not sure. It's like when kids first start learning about British art and British culture and contemporary art, and they're doing modules on people like Insa. And he's a customer of ours. He's become a friend of the shops, but he's being taught to young kids as an English artist, contemporary English artist, and that's great. So it's a lot of people that are coming into the shop that we've gotten to know as friends are now being used as examples of their generation, which is really, it's nice to be part of that, and it's really interesting to watch.
Even though Banksy's work has received positive responses amongst the art world, some people argue that it's vandalism, which degrades communities and defaces public property.
I think these days there's not a particularly clear distinction between street art and graffiti, and I think that's a bit of a problem. If we're going to be honest, the Banksys of this world are pretty few and far between, and I think a lot of graffiti that we see around London is probably born more out of boredom than it is from any sense of real talent. And I think what happens is it ends up degrading the community rather than perhaps enriching it. If you look at what the kids today are taught in school through art and design and technology, they learn about Banksy, they learn about pop art, they learn about Andy Warhol. Perhaps it's time to kind of capture that so that they could do their art inspired from the street rather than do it on the street.